Hi everyone, welcome to this short explainer video on color range. My name is David Spreadborough and I'm one of the forensic video analysts here at AMP Software. Now if you think that you've seen some of this before and you recognize this graphic, you may well have done. This is a re-recording of a previous video where we detailed color range, and we made that several years ago, but we felt it was time for a refresh. So color range, what does it relate to? Well, color range relates to the range of values that are firstly in the video file and then what values are to be decoded, because they can be two different things. There are two possible values: full, which is sometimes shown as PC, as in personal computer, and limited, which may be shown as TV, as in television. And they're mostly used by the common color space of YUV 420p. Now I'm going to come on to that sort of color space data a bit later. Now, as I've said, there's two possible values. However, as you can see here in AMP5, I've got four different examples. So let's go through them and you'll understand what the final two are. So the first one then is limited. This is the most common. And when a video is encoded as limited, it uses the luminance range of between 16 and 235 rather than the full 8-bit range of 0 to 255, the 256 values, as this saves valuable data space. Now when a decoder sees the flagging, and you can see the color range is flagged here as limited, what it does is it opens up those values using interpolation at the decode stage. So our 219 luminance values get opened up to 256. Now we can see that in this graphic that we've made up specifically to present this. If I go to our inspector tool in AMP5 and then move up through the range 0, 1, we can see our values being presented over here. So we've got 0, 1, 2, 3, and we've got 3 again. Then we've missed out 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, etc, 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 all the way round to 255. So in the interpolation, the decoder has done some missing out and some then doubling up, but that's how the file was created. It was only given 219 values, so in order for that to be played back correctly, it's got to be opened up using interpolation. There's nothing wrong with that file. Everything is correct. It was encoded with the limited color range, and the decoder has been informed it's in the limited color range, and now we're decoding it in the limited color range, but we have all our values through interpolation at the decode stage. Perfectly fine, no problems at all. All right then, let's move on to the next one with the full color range. We can see here we've got our fully encoded video and it's been correctly flagged as the full color range. Now with the full color range, many decoders will present full color range videos as having the YUV J420p color space. Now this merely allows a decoder to avoid having to read any specific color range flags, as the J in that color space indicates JPEG range, and the JPEG range is always full. So it doesn't need to read any color range flag here because FFMS is reading that YUVJ color space and will automatically then decode it as full. So if we do the same thing with the full color range video here, and we go back to our inspector tool, we can see that we've got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc, 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 all the way up to 255. We've got 256 values there as we go around. It's the full range. It was encoded full, and it's been flagged as full, no problems. Next one. Now, with this one, we've got let's just open this back up. We've got a file, a video file, that has the limited flag, flagged as limited, and we're previewing it, but you may have noticed there's a bit of a difference. We haven't got all of our shades of grey here. And if I then open up our inspector tool here, we can see that we've got 0, but then we've got 0 again, 0, 0, 0, 0, etc, 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 all the way to around here, and then we've got our 1. Same as our 255, so all of our whites, 255, 255, etc, etc, etc. So all of our really darks and all of our really lights aren't being decoded correctly. What we've got here is we've got an incorrect flagging. So with this video file, and if I just open up our histogram with this video file, what we can do is we can now open up our color range from limited, and we can override the file's flag, which was incorrect, and we can say no, use the full color range, then apply. Now we've got all of our values. So let's just go to inspector, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc, etc, etc. So what we had there was a full encoded video, but it had an incorrect flag, so the decoder is incorrectly playing it. The last example here is unspecified. So here we've got, let's open up our file info tool, our unspecified. Here there is no flagging information, and so the decoder is going to do its best job, and most of the time most decoders will then automatically open it as limited. Now this video file was actually limited even though it's unspecified, and we can tell that just by going up in this graphic. We can see 0, 1, 2, 3, 3 again, 5, missed out 4, etc, etc, etc. So here we've got an unspecified, so we don't know, and it's very difficult to know with real videos. Obviously we've got it's easier here with this graphic, but due to the many different ways that video can be encoded, formatted and then flagged, it really can be quite difficult to know what's going on behind the scenes, whether you do have an incorrect flagging or if you've got something that is unspecified. A handy trick if you're analyzing, restoring and enhancing very dark areas or very light areas of video is to see if there's a big change in the saturated pixels. So if I go to our incorrect one here, and then I go to our histogram, let's bring that back to from file. We can see it here, and then you can use the show saturated pixels, and we can see that we've got a lot of pixels that are saturated in the darks and a lot of pixels that are saturated in the lights. In the real world, obviously you're not going to get patterns like this, but you may have a lot of really dark areas that are completely saturated and they're just completely black. Whereas if you then open up to a full color range, then press apply, it's going to reduce that, and it's going to give you all that data that's in that dark area that was originally hidden by the decoder. And there's, as you can imagine, there's no point in trying to bring out details in a dark area if the decoder is not even presenting the data correctly. Another final alarm bell for you is that for those people that are reviewing video in other decoders or web-based players, is that most will automatically decode a video as limited if it's unspecified. Now, you may have now be thinking ahead, because consequently, decisions can be made then on a dark video as having no use within an investigation, where in reality, it was just that the decoder was not playing it correctly. So remember, there's two possible color ranges for modern videos: limited and full. However, videos can be decoded incorrectly when they're unspecified, and you can have full range videos flagged incorrectly as limited. I hope that you've enjoyed that, and it's helped you to understand the challenge of color range a little bit better. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching.